Guys, what's up? Good morning. Welcome to another BEJ live stream. This is the official BEJ live streaming channel. So if you are not yet subscribed, please consider doing so because this is where the vast majority of our live streams will take place, not on the main channel. We do that only sometimes just to alert you guys again to the reality that this channel exists. Again, you can call in, right? The link to call in is in the description down below. Find us on Skype. Send us a message, a request over. We'll send you a link and you can join us live on the program. What's up, Chili? How you doing? I'm a little bit late, 15 minutes. Forgive me, right? Yesterday we were talking about unity, and there is some news, right? There is some news in relations to what's taking place in China, right? There's some news, right? This broke actually 2 days ago. It broke April the 13th, right? But for some reason, someone just sent me the information, so I wasn't aware of it. So I'm gonna be talking about that, among other things today. Welcome. Let's see, Mylin as well as Shola. Thanks for coming on, guys. I know that if I went on the main channel, there would be a lot more people here, but I just wanna, yeah, like this is the main channel. So even though we don't have the numbers, this is the channel that I'm trying to make the just strictly live streaming channel. So I'll still come over here and do live streams here mainly, but let me just share this real quick on the next channel real fast. um, how are you guys doing? See, how's the volume? Can you guys hear me okay? You know what, I realized that the sound, the audio yesterday wasn't that great. Like I listened it over and I was like, snap! I'm like, oh, this is what you guys are talking about. I was surprised that the audio was so bad. um, but I realized what I did. It was some settings thing that I messed with. Even though I'm not using the correct mic, so I'm gonna try to get a mic that's appropriate for what we're doing. But yeah, but I listened to the thing. I'm like, snap! I hope the audio is good. How's the audio, guys? Is it good now? Because I was like, man, wow, this is what you guys had to endure for the last 2, 3 episodes. Where live streams. I'm like, man, okay, so I'm gonna get a good one. Once I can get one, because I don't know where we can get one now, given that most places are closed and state of emergency. Restrictions are getting tighter by the day, it looks like, or it might get tighter in Tokyo. So yeah, I'll try to get one as soon as I can. All right, let's see. Earl, what's up? How you doing? Let's see who else we got here. Zydor, how you doing? Terry, how you doing? Bonita, how you doing? Thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate it. Jenny, what's up? Okay, so let me just get to the update real quick. So this is what's going on. So you guys know that since the news broke about what's taking place in Africa, people all over the world actually have rallied together, whether it's to get the word out, whether it's to try to find a way to assist those in need in Africa. The good thing is that the people within the country itself of China, I keep saying Africa, but I mean China, the people in China, I have to catch myself. So the it goes around, the word gets around. So in China, WeChat groups, black people in China, they band together and they assisted those within Africa. What's up, Jules? In China. Why do I keep saying? From the last, I keep saying Africa. I'm not even sure why. But anyways, so the latest out of in regards to that situation is that the CEO. Let me just read this really quickly to give you guys an update as it relates to what's taking place, and this has been done not by the government, and that's another thing to talk about as well, because apparently what seems to be taking place is that some of the government in Africa now are denying, not China, Africa, are denying that what the Chinese are doing is wrong. So you have that as well. I don't know if they were reprimanded. I'm not saying they were, because of course the initial response, um, they express their disappointment, right, in relation to what was taking place in China. But now some officials from some of these same countries are changing their tune. I'm not really sure why. Anyways, let's just read this. So this is the news, right? So Neil Nelson, founder and CEO of Atlanta Black Star, together with Bobi Wine, Ugandan MP, artists and activists, have united to rally support for Africans being treated inhumanely in the Guangzhou area of China. So the CEO of AtlantaBlackStar.com, you guys may know that media website, and it's in the States. And Bobi Wine as well, who is a Ugandan MP and artist and activist, they are coming together. They've teamed up, right? They've teamed up. So we spoke about unity yesterday. We are appalled by the widely reported instances of xenophobia in parts of China, where Africans and African Americans are being ejected, or I guess evicted, from residence and forced to sleep on streets, denied medical care, and mistreated. We have watched disturbing videos of pregnant mothers being turned away from hospitals simply because they are black. We are calling upon the government of China to urgently intervene and ensure the targeted attacks on black people are brought to an end. These two leaders are currently working together to facilitate a humanitarian mission to airlift those Africans and African Americans who are affected by these attacks to a country in Africa that is willing to receive them. We are also prepared to evacuate them to the United States for those holding U.S. citizenship or permanent resident status. We call upon leaders from across the global African community, including political leaders, social activists, artists, and other leaders to join us in this effort. We also take this opportunity to call on African American, and other black people of means from the global African community to lend their resources to the cause of saving our own souls in this and other projects relating to the global COVID-19 pandemic. We ask all members of our global community to reshare this message on social media using the hashtags Saving Our Own Souls, hashtag SOOS. And that was from the founder and CEO of AtlantaBlackStar.com. You guys may know that publication. And Bobi Wine, right? He's a Ugandan MP, artist, and activist as well. So this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to airlift. So they're saying if there's an African country, or if these people are American citizens as well, or if they hold permanent resident status, they will airlift them at no charge to a country within Africa or America that will receive them. So that's what they're planning to do. And because I saw a clip of the guy as well. Maybe going forward I might share some of these things with you guys so you can actually see it on the screen while I'm reading it as well. That the guy is upset, right? And he's calling on the African politicians to not allow the mistreatment of Africans the world over, right? So they're calling upon that. They're talking about that, especially Bobi Wine, who's a Ugandan MP, right? You can see that he's very disgruntled. He's very upset about what's taking place. So these people, Good Samaritans, are coming together right now to provide the airlift, right? And this is what some people are calling for. Some people are calling for people in China who are being affected to leave. Well, these two gentlemen are giving these people an opportunity to be airlifted from China to either a country in Africa or the US that will accept them. And you guys know it's we're in the midst of a pandemic, so not all countries will be willing to receive people from various places. But if they do, at least there can be a quarantine procedure where they're required to remember quarantine for 14 days, in a hotel or somewhere else. So this is one thing that can take them away from what they're facing right now. I'm not sure how many people will take up the offer, but it's there. You guys can go on social media again, and the hashtag on Twitter is SOOS and Saving Our Own Souls. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you have to, you got to do it yourself. Sometimes you can't rely on someone else to rescue you. Sometimes you got to step in because of the government aren't doing something for you. Can you imagine? The other guy's an MP, but he has a foundation, so he's utilizing Bobi Wine. He's utilizing his foundation, and a businessman from the States is utilizing his organization as well, his business, to facilitate this thing. and they're not politician. Well, one is a politician, but it's not like the effort is not from the governmental level down. So that's one of the, maybe there might be even later news right now out of China, but at least this is an opportunity for those who want to leave, to take it and go somewhere at least in the interim. But that might not be sufficient, all right? It might not be sufficient. As I said before, sometimes it's not that easy to leave where you are and move to another country, even if it's your homeland. If you haven't been there for many years, right? You might not have the necessary foundation, to sustain, your way of living and things like that. So, but at least an opportunity is on the table for those affected who can, they can take up that offer. Yeah, so that's what's going on right now, guys. So that's the latest out of China, not China, well, yeah, China, but the responses from the U.S. and Africa as well. And the next thing too is that, as I said before, just to reiterate really quickly, politicians in Africa are singing a different song right now. They're saying, I don't know if maybe because they're trying to like preserve these diplomatic relations, but maybe, I don't know if China said something to them or they received more information, so now they are siding with the Chinese to say, well, you know what, look, they had these rules, whether it's social distancing, this or that, whatever excuse they're trying to present, and they're like, well, that's the reason why they're doing this. But yeah, so yeah, but still, people who are concerned are trying their very best to help the people over there. Someone called in yesterday and she was asking about measures to help people on the ground, but I don't have a direct pipeline to people in the affected area, and because of that, of course, we did a call yesterday just to see if anyone would reach out. No one really has reached out about it yet, but we'll see if something can be done, if we can contribute to the efforts that's taking place. I'll watch closely to what these guys are doing, because since they're airlifting people or offering to airlift people from China, then there might be an opportunity for people to contribute as well, whether it's to the cause of having these people airlifted, or maybe to present them with something so that when they go wherever, if they decide to take up the offer, so that they can have some food, etc., things that they might need. But yeah, the good thing is, as someone raised yesterday on the live stream on the main channel, is that when you shed light on things like this, it helps. The reason why most people right now have know about what's taking place and why this thing is in mainstream media, right? Articles, videos all over the world right now, is because there was an outcry. People spoke up about it. We utilized the internet. That's one of the reasons why it's here. That's one of the good things about the internet, and we got the word out. And as a result, someone, what's the proverb? Something like many hands or something like that makes a heavy load light. So if a lot of people are assisting or raising their voices, then the burden is lighter. And I think that can be said, that could be the same thing for the plight of the black race, right? If everyone does something to try to advance our cause, if everyone who is affected or understand the experience, the black experience, like work together, then I believe we can advance. And yesterday I spoke about unity, and this is a concerted effort. What's going on between these two organizations, these two people who are offering, and you guys know that's expensive to airlift these people from outside of China, right? So yeah. So when I talk about unity, someone wrote something yesterday that I think it holds a lot of wisdom, and it might be something that I'm probably gonna have to exercise this, because historically I understand that there is usually disunity within the house. There's usually people with different mindsets, that people are usually never on the same page, right? And then even if you're doing something that you perceive to be good, there's always some dissension, and people have different ways of doing things. People might disagree, and people might just do not want to be a part of it at all. Which, and historically we've seen that even when people are trying to sacrifice themselves, there are people who will shout and say something about it. But the person wrote, so I need to bear that in mind, and that those who are not willing to who don't share the same vision or mindset, then to separate myself from them, and then keep doing what I'm doing and focus on those who are for it. So the person wrote this because I wrote this little message on the community tab on YouTube, the channel, the main channel, and it said, "United we stand, united we stand, divided we fall." And the person responded. There was a few responses, maybe just like not a lot, but some people responded. The person said, "It's time to cut loose ends." Full stop. Right? Let the divided. Let me go again. I'm reading too slow. Okay, it's time to cut loose ends. Let the divided fall. Stand with the united. I'm like, man, okay, that's deep. That's deep. It's time to cut loose ends. Right? Let the divided fall. Stand with the united. And it's a different way to say, some of the things I've championed, where it's like, there are always people who are for your cause. And it's always better to focus on those people who are for your cause or share the same vision and move them in that direction, than to keep looking backwards and be distracted by other people who have a separate agenda, who are not for what you're for. And it's almost like it's just like when you're running a race. The more you look back at whoever is behind you, it takes away from the energy that you could be contributing to finishing the race, the course that you're on. And it's so true. And as I said yesterday, a lot of people, there will be disunity. There will be dissension. Not everyone will be for it, and that's just the way life is. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how good you are, right? If we even go all the way back to even the days of like Jesus, for instance, and we would say that he's like one of the most holy figures in history. Right? Did no wrong, but yet still they actually crucified the man. So I'm like, if they did that to Jesus, can you imagine in the world, the present day world, what they would do with someone else who is clearly not as righteous, right? So indeed, it makes sense though. It makes sense, and everything that people have done in the past as well. Usually, sometimes when they're in the midst of the struggle, there's no one that's there to say yes, but afterwards, if this the results or posthumously, after the person has passed, then they say, oh yes, this person did this, and they were good doing this, or whatever the case is. But I think that bore a lot of wisdom. There was a lot of wisdom contained in those words, in the response, where it's like, cut the loose ends, let the divided fall, stand with the united. Makes sense. That's what you got to do. And I'm not even sure how my mind forgot about that, because I understood very well that that's what will be needed, right? Because I understand that not everyone will be for a certain cause. So you have to find those who are like-minded, right? Those who share the same vision, and then you work on that. And if we should talk about blueprint, that would be a blueprint. The blueprint would be those who share the same mindset, working toward it, and once it becomes really popular, right, once it becomes something that people see that's working, then of course the way people are, they would hop on it afterwards. So that's the way it is, right? So that's how you do it. You start, and then that's how people are. And I'm like, me personally, that's me. I'm a risk taker, so I don't need to see something working before I do it. All right, I have that. I'm built that way. Like I'm the type of person. I've done this multiple times in my life, so I'm not talking about something that like theoretically speaking. I'm talking about I'm the type of risk taker that would do something that if someone is looking at it, they don't see anything, and they're wondering what in the world this guy's doing. He's doing something that's crazy. But you have to be. That's the way it is. Sometimes you gotta do it, and then afterwards, if people might see it, and then they might be like, oh. And I've done this before, as I said. So this is not the first attempt to do such a thing. But yeah, so that's kind of like that in a nutshell. I'll give you guys the opportunity to talk. Yesterday I did go overtime. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. Yesterday the live stream went way too long. I could have stayed on a lot longer because I have a lot of energy. Like you guys have no idea. So 5 hours 26 minutes wasn't even that long. Well, it was long. It was long. It went over the time I allocated to that task, and because of that, I had to like yeah, other tasks suffered. So today I'm going to make sure that I won't exceed 2 hours, which is just like the upper limit of the time. So if this thing, when you hear this phone goes off, you hear the alarm, that's when I'm going to conclude the stream. So even if we're in the midst of a hot discussion, I might give the person like 5 minutes to finish, and then we're done. That's it. I'm not about that today at all. You guys saw all my water was finished, so now I got two like jars of water thing. Got my tea here, Earl Grey, right? Like that tea, and yeah. So I don't even think I'm gonna need all this. But let's just see who is on. And again, guys, this is the official main channel, and the main live stream channel, I should say. I do live stream sometimes on the main channel, but that's not where we live stream. Some people, I guess, don't even know that we live stream daily, but on the main channel, sometimes it depends. This topic, for instance, with the latest news, I could have done this on that channel, but I decided not to today, because I want people to, keep coming to this channel, because this will be the main live channel. It is, at least. And live stream at a near point in the future will be exclusively done on this channel, right? Let's see. ABMNS, how you doing? Eber, how you doing? Has the Chinese government made any statement at all about this? They haven't, unfortunately. And some African people are, African politicians, I should say, are in agreement with what's taking place, saying, it's just the rules, just what they're doing. But for those of you guys who are just joining us just now, the CEO and co-founder and founder of AtlantaBlackStar.com and Bobi Wine, a politician, musician, and activist in Africa, they are pooling their resources together and they're offering to airlift all the affected Africans and African Americans within Guangzhou, China. They're offering to airlift them out of China into any country within Africa that will accept them, or in the US if they have the right status to enter. So that's what they're doing. And the hashtag, if you guys want to check it out and maybe even be a part of it, is hashtag SOOS and save our own souls. Yeah, man. Saving our own souls. And that's the reality of us as black people. Right, we gotta save our own souls. Right, we gotta share our own stories. We gotta do all these things ourselves. Right, so it's the same thing. Even within the community itself, if you can't find people who are of a like mind or believe in the type of unity that you believe in, then you just gotta do it. Because I've been doing it without them anyways. So it doesn't matter. So it's almost like, which means my mindset is the winning mindset. The mindset of everyone else is not the mindset that works clearly. So I need to continue and quadruple down on my efforts, which I'm doing as well. So that's the way forward. Okay, let's see. Let me just scroll up again. So Blackman said, I like to keep my ears open on what's going on globally. Indeed, essential Cassie. Unfortunately, I don't think those contacts can be easily avoided. They're anchored. What you mean, contacts or contracts? Maybe contracts, right? Envy. We as a people, forgiveness and apologies have always let us down. Understood. There's no debt that China has on Africa that's worthy of any abuse and oppression. Gout said, Africa doesn't have leverage. Quite the opposite. Weak countries are not advantaged versus a global hegemony. What's this? World doesn't work that way. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Bag Manny, how you doing? Thanks for coming on, man. Again, guys, if you want to join me, wait, you know what? I haven't even opened up Skype, but let me do that. If you guys want to join me and you just want to have a chat or about what's going on, and as I said, I'm gonna look into the hashtag and see. So maybe tomorrow when we come back on, what we can do is given what Bobi Wine is doing and the Atlanta Black Star, maybe we can team up with them, or like reach out and maybe see like what we can do. And then, because the thing is that the problem was there wasn't a direct channel, and I wanted to make sure that if we're assisting or if we're gonna allow you guys as well to assist, there needs to be a channel that's secured, that is reliable, and all that good stuff, to see if we can help. So for instance, they're doing this together and they're asking other people to come on board. It looks like, so I'm gonna do some more investigation, and then maybe tomorrow we'll have somewhere that we can maybe donate or something to help this effort of airlifting the Africans and African Americans, based on what they said, out of the affected area in China. So that's what we're going to be doing. So at least something like this is easier, versus trying to find the exact person on the ground, which can be problematic when it comes down to resources and stuff like that. Let's see. SD said, I'm not getting majority of the notifications for these live streams. SD, I'm assuming that you have the notification bell activated and selected, and you select the option all, like all notifications, but it's still not going through. I hope that's not the case, but it's possible, because I remember there was one period in time, or point in time, where people were saying they weren't receiving any notifications even though they went out. So maybe check your device. If it's not your device, come on around 10 a.m. JST every day. It might be give or take a few minutes, right? Or give a few minutes sometimes. But if you come on the channel, whether it's the main channel or this one or on our Facebook page, you will see us, right? At between, usually I don't go later than like 10, 20 something, depending. But 10 a.m. is the time. And that would be the time that we will come on going forward on the dot. It says, Tipito, we have got to stop being passive. There's just so much, guys. Like, if we talk about this, Nemelala, be safe, Ranzo. I appreciate it, man. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's most of these things are complex, right? And the young Africans are calling out to their leaders, right, to make a change, to make a difference. And it might just be the same. It might just be, this might just continue until we have new leaders, man. It's there's a lot of work to be done. You know what? Like, that's the thing. And sometimes, when I look at it, for instance, a simple thing as me just talking about unity and just the efforts, and realizing that not everyone thinks this way. It's one of those things where you're like, man, every time you try to, you move forward, you realize why we're in the position that we're in. It's not something that we can't analyze and see why we are the way we are. As Black people, the struggle that we face, the reason why it continues, the reason why the future looks bleaker, based on certain projections, because we see the actions, right? And every act, and just certain things that we see, whether it's the leaders, whether it's the way that people operate, whether it's the mindset, or the prevailing mindset rather, we can see why we're in the state of affairs that we're in. And the only thing, this is what I'm trying to say, the only thing that will help us is if we do something different. That's the only way. We can't keep doing the same exact thing over and over again, generation after generation, and expecting a different result. It doesn't take much for us to look over history and see the problems that ails us as a people, and we can see it. And if we see it, then we should at least try something different. Let's try something new. Would this work? Would that work? Let's just try something else. Because if what you're doing or what you've done in time past hasn't worked, then you need to cast that outside through the window. And anything that you've done that worked, continue doing that. Improve upon it. Right? So, okay, was this person? Is this person a new person? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm seeing these messages. Oh yeah, I need to respond to this person. right? So that's what I'm saying. So guys, the link to the Skype is in the description down below or above if you're on Facebook. Just copy that Skype ID if you want to talk, and then put it in Skype, search for BJ, you find it, send a message, I'll accept it, send you the link, and then you can come on. If it didn't work in the past, why repeat it? Doing the same thing but expecting different results is insanity. Indeed, indeed. All right, and it's I think Einstein. It might, sometimes people say someone coined a quote, and it might not be that person. But someone said, I think Einstein said that you can't solve a problem at the same level that it was created. So even if we face, because we know we face all these problems within the community, we can't have a solution or arrive at a solution at the same level, and that's for sure. All right, so there's so many things, and sometimes when we look at it, man, I'm telling you, you look at the things that ails us, man, you're like, man, it's a mammoth of a task. It is easier. It's easier for one black person or two black people to do something right for themselves, right? It's easier for this one guy all the way over there, to do this, or the one, a lady all the way over there to do that. But when it's time for people to come together and to do anything, it's almost like that. It's going downhill, man. But that's the thing too. It's easier to work, for yourself by yourself than with other people as well. So that's a thing, just a human thing overall. So you got to find the right people, the right person. But man, there's a lot. But you know what? What should be the mindset? It can be discouraging. I think the mindset should be, as I said yesterday, is it possible? Whatever it is that you're going after, I will go after it. We see what's going on in China, and the only reason why that's going on too is because it's a response of the African nations. Because if the African nations had set an example already, right, that you can't mess with our people, or we will spare, well, I guess maybe not no resources, but if you mess with any of our people, we're going to cut ties, or we're going to put sanctions on you, or whatever the case is. If Africa responded like that, and the thing is, look, sometimes you have no power, right? Sometimes you're not the person who has the advantage, but you have to have a frame of mind that you're willing to sacrifice your position. You're willing to sacrifice what you have in order to get the upper hand. Like like China, Africa. China has the money or whatever. Africa has the resources. China needs Africa, right? China needs Africa even more than Africa needs China, I think. Because I think if Africa, figure something else out and just utilize their own resources and find some type of system to work within their own continent, I feel like they don't need any external help. Because most people and most countries take from Africa. And if it wasn't for Africa, most of these countries wouldn't even have what they have right now. Right? So I think sometimes you got to say, you know what? Like, it's almost like when you need money and you ain't got no money. And someone is saying you got to do this for this money, but you need it, you're hungry, but you got to hold out, say like, man, I need this money, but you know what? I will not compromise on my principles. Yes, I need the money, but you know what? Nah, this is my standard, and I will not, lower my standard for this. I will hold out until I get what I rightfully deserve, until I'm treated the way that I ought to be treated. So, but these things are not easy. We're just people looking, from the outside. We see the problems, right? We're not sure how tied up these people are in Africa. We're not sure of the contracts that they have, or just all these things. We don't even know. Someone said something is ironclad. They might be talking about Africa. I'm not sure, but we don't know all the details. And again, just to get back to the topic really quickly again. So the hashtag is SOOS. Wait, I can probably just drop it in this. These are the hashtags if you guys want to follow up on the title and saving our own souls. Wait. This is it. Is it? So these are the hashtags, right? So again, there's a Ugandan MP, activist, and musician, one person, Bobi Wine, and Neil Nelson, the CEO and founder of Atlanta Black Star. They have come together to airlift Africans and African Americans, right, who are affected by COVID-19, the mistreatment in Guangzhou, China. They're offering to airlift them out of China into any country within Africa that would accept them, or if they have their U.S. passports, then or if they're Americans, they'll airlift them to the U.S. as well. So that's what they're doing. And as I said, I'm gonna do further investigation because someone sent this to me, and then maybe tomorrow we can set something up where we can actually contribute to their efforts, right? Which I think is probably a bit, as I said, the better way to do it. One is, if they do airlift these people out, if they agree to it, then they might need some resources as well. So I'll look and see what channels are available, and then maybe tomorrow we can come up with a link or something when we go live at 10 a.m. GST, and then maybe all of us can do something if you want to do it. I'll definitely do something, and then at least we can contribute beyond the talking about the issue, which is good as well, because it's because people like myself and other people as well who spoke about it, wrote about it, why it went to mainstream media. Because at the time when we spoke about it, people thought it was fake news. People said it wasn't in mainstream media, but now it's everywhere, right? And I guess the more it spreads across the world, more people will come to the aid of the people in China, and call China out, because China hasn't even accepted responsibility. It's almost like the undertone is that it's necessary. We don't discriminate, but this is what we're doing, right? So yeah, man. You know what, Mary? Hey, Mary, thanks for coming on. You know what? For me, like, okay, like I'm not like a politician or a leader or whatever, governmental leader, whatever. But in my mind, this is what I've thought about this. I'm like, all these third world countries, right? The world over. I'm thinking about, I think about tech, right? And if we look at India, for instance, like India is deep in tech right now. And I think about how can these third world countries, accelerate their growth. And my mind is, tech is one of the fastest ways. It's one of the fastest ways. So I'm like, okay, I ain't no, governmental official or whatever, but what if you focused your resources on educating the young people in those fields, right? And start like, various tech hubs in your own country, and equip your youth with the tools so that they can, create, the technology of tomorrow. Maybe the next Facebook, for instance. Maybe the next Google. Whatever it is. I'm like, shouldn't that be where all your resources are going right now? Like I think that's one of the fastest ways to change. And I talk about another thing that I when I talk to some people back in Jamaica and elsewhere, is people need also to, okay, for the people on the ground who can't find jobs, I'm like, you need to find alternative work. People need to learn how to make money online, right? So in these countries, usually, right, the jobs that they get, depending on, even if you're qualified, if you have a degree or not, it doesn't matter, because some of the jobs are still, the money that you'd get paid in some third world countries, if you have a degree, even a master's, is not as much as if you were to do the same job in another country, and your skill sets are the same. Your skill set is the same. You can do everything the same. You might be a high-level worker, high-level performer. It doesn't matter. You're getting like a fraction of what you'd get in a first world country, right? So sometimes I'm like, you gotta find a way. These third world countries, you gotta enter tech. You gotta enter that space, and you also need to find other ways to supplement your income. You have to be able to enter the, go into cyberspace, enter that new world that's beyond, just where you live. You're confined on, in a country or an island or wherever you are, but you can go beyond that by going online, right? So there's certain things. I remember there was a company I worked for, a marketing company, It was just a stint, and the things that I learned, I'm just like, I was just like flabbergasted, because I'm like, wait, people actually do these things? I'm like, what? I'm like, there's so many online opportunities that are out there that most maybe now more people might know about it, because this was like years ago when I worked for that company. Um, so I'm just like, man, like there's so many things that people aren't utilizing. Like people need to think outside of the box, and um, tech, big time. I'm not even sure what these third world countries. I don't like that term, but like that's what they call these countries. You gotta invest in all that, man, because you gotta look at how can I accelerate my growth, right? And you look at some of the projections, and you say to yourself, if I go down this road, it's gonna take us maybe 50 years or whatever, a long period of time to get the results that we want. How can we accelerate that? Tech is the way. And you don't need much. You don't need much infrastructure, like at the onset at least, to teach these people the skills that they need. You don't need that. Listen, man, I don't know what these people are doing, because you know what I would do? Like, as I said, look, I'm no whatever, but what I would do is I would get some investment from could be private companies, whatever. Get some money and create, like as I said, like a tech hub or something. And look, the sole purpose of this thing is getting these people to learn, different programming languages, all these things, all the resources. You just have this hub where you're just like pumping out programmers, pumping them out left, right, and center. Trust me. Listen, man, you change your GDP. You'll change your country very, very fast if you got some good teachers, and you teach them the right skills. But I don't know. But Bagman is saying I'm totally wrong about how it is. You totally okay. Enlighten me, because I'm just talking about. So I don't know how it works. I have no idea. As I said, no idea. But I think this is how I would do it, which I think makes sense. It makes no sense you focus on things that aren't bringing you money, right? Or like, for instance, some of the jobs right now that people are entering in, even people within universities, you're studying right now something that by the time you graduate will be non-existent. Can you imagine that? By the time you graduate. So we don't need to waste time and resources doing that. We talk about the black community. Most of the things that we're doing right now is not, well, I can't say everyone, but a large percentage, the jobs that we're doing will be obsolete in the near future. And then that's a problem, because when AI comes in and take over, that's why people are talking about this basic human income that they will give to people, because most of those low skill jobs will not be in existence, because they will be replaced by like robots or AI, whatever. So you won't have those jobs. Why? And that's why we need to enter into STEM. We need to get into tech as a people. So I'm talking about third world countries, and I'm talking about black people as well. How? And tech accelerates everything. That's why I think it's the very best place to go indeed. Everything moves faster there. Someone can create something, in a year, and it changes the world, and it changes their lives, their country, right? Okay, let's see. That's what people can. Let's see. So I'm reading the comments right now. I'm speaking on small gifts people are now offering. Internet is not as accessible as it is in first world country. But remember, look, the person that's saying that tech is awesome, programming, hackathons, embedded design, they're all fun. I want more people to realize this. And this is the thing. Someone is saying that internet is not as accessible as in first world countries. I understand. Listen, I grew up in Jamaica. I understand what you're talking about, but I'm talking about something from like that the government could do. It's not that hard, because I know private companies who are doing things like this. They create. I don't even know why I'm even talking about this, because the people that have the power probably won't get the information. But you create a hub. It's the same thing. You create the hub. You train the people, right? And even if you have just an instructor and you have subscriptions to some of these websites where people can learn things like Skillshare, for instance, lynda.com, you name them, Khan Academy, you name all of these places, Code Academy, you name all these places, and you could maybe just have a facilitator in a room that you pay, and you have the people that go there, and they might say, okay, this is the lesson that we're gonna go through. They go through it, and then if people don't have access to the internet to do things, you go there. If there's something that you want to do that requires the internet, you go to the hub. You have a section where people go and they can work on things. It's almost like YouTube, for instance. It's kind of small. Like YouTube has this thing where if you're at a certain size, you have access to the YouTube studios across the world. So you go there and they have all the high-tech cameras that you want, super expensive cameras that you probably can't buy yourself, and they have all these things there, and they have these computers that you can use to edit and all that stuff. So all the things that you need for pre and post production, YouTube has that, right? In major cities, just a few major cities across the world. Tokyo has one as well. It's the same, something like that. So you have a place where people can go and learn. And if they can't, they need internet and they don't have it, they have a place in that same building or wherever the hub that they can go and access the internet. That's pretty fast internet. You schedule your time, you register, you have a time block or whatever, you go in, you work. And then, for the sake of the country, you're telling me that you can't do something like that, but you spend money doing all sorts of other foolishness? I'm pretty sure that could be done. And you know what? It could even be, man, private companies could do that. Private companies could do that. And maybe, I don't know, you use it as a marketing opportunity or something. But I don't know, you know what? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe when someone goes into politics, as I said, it looks different from the outside. And when you go in, maybe you realize that it's not as easy to make change as you would think. That's one. And I've heard that too. I've heard from people on the inside too that, look, and the next thing too is even with the police force, sometimes people go in with the police force with the right intentions, and once they go in, they realize, man, you can't really speak up because you got corruption. It's rampant. So if you're the one that is standing out, then your life is now in jeopardy, because if you say something, the corrupt cops or whoever are going to try to take you out. So now you're like, man, I probably can't do exactly what I wanted to do. Dangote and his friends in Nigeria donated like 250 million in coronavirus relief from their own pockets. Jeff Bezos, who is the richest man in America, only gave 100 million. Google, Apple, and YouTube has established free studios for use. However, there's a trick. You need to have over 10,000 followers. That's what I said. I just said that you need to be a certain size, have a certain following to access it. And there's different levels. Just the way YouTube is, there's different levels. The bigger you are, the more features and access you have. Like most things in life. It sucks, but it's the way they do it. Okay, let's see. You see, these are the things that we're talking about. These are the things that we're talking about with, for instance, what I just said just now, right? With my limited understanding of how the government work, or how governments work. Because I always look on two sides, both sides. I always say, okay, I can look from outside, and maybe what I'm seeing is not really what's taking place on the inside, because most of us criticize without knowing. And even myself, being at least someone that a public facing person, people would look on me and maybe think something, but I know the inner workings. So sometimes what people see might not even be the full picture. So I understand that sometimes when I look at governmental officials, I'm like, we see it one way, but I'm not really sure what they're facing behind the scenes. So I'm not sure exactly. So I say, okay, it appears to be this way, but maybe they're facing something why they can't implement certain things that they want to implement. But something like that. These are things that we talk about among ourselves, whether it's for the black community or something else, and then we're saying we want this to happen, right? And the government won't do it. But so we have to step in. It's just like what Bobi Wine is doing with what's taking place in China. Him and Nelson, they are using their resources and influence to help airlift the affected black people in China. Because they're looking around, the government ain't doing nothing. So they're like, we got to do something. We got to save our own souls. So I think that's the way we got to look at certain things. Certain issue, if we're saying, okay, those who are in power and have the resources to do it, if they won't do it, and we understand that it's necessary to save our own souls, then we need to be the ones to do something, to put something in place. It might not be as beautiful or as great as what they would do because they have the money to do it, but at least it's a start. And you know what? It might be the spark that start like this forest fire. Maybe that might be the case. So maybe I'm saying, because this was something I was thinking about before, and I think it's a good idea, but I don't know. I'm like, these countries, I'm like, how are you gonna change your position if you lack the natural resources? I don't know, if you lack the opportunities, you gotta find some other way, man. And just like us as black people as well, it's the same thing. Hey, what's up, Wendell? It's the same thing. What are the jobs and the industries that we're entering? And sometimes there is this thing called imposter syndrome that we face. And even I think this person that's watching, where is he? He's I believe he's a programmer as well. Rand, he's somewhere here. I don't know if he's still on. Right? He's a programmer. And was it him? I don't know. Like, I talked to a lot of programmers. But someone told me that when they're in the companies and stuff, they have this feeling of this imposter syndrome thing going on with them, because sometimes they are the only black person in the room, right? And I've been to some of these like Google and Facebook offices, and when you walk around, all your like I did see, for instance, in Tokyo, I saw like there was two actually, black people, right? So, and sometimes you only see one person on the entire floor, and those are the industries that we need to be in, right? And then if you guys remember the interview that I did with Ashley in Singapore that works for Google, she was saying, you know what, some of the recruiters for these companies aren't going to HBCUs. They aren't going to some of these institutions where are predominantly black. So these people aren't even finding, or they're not going to the places to recruit black people. And it also might be the interest of the people as well. In this might not be the case. Let me just say that it might not be the case for all. Like, they might be going to some schools, right? But it seems like she was saying that that's one issue as well. Maybe they're not doing enough recruiting at these schools, and some of the students might not be interested in these fields. But these are the fields that we need to go in and enter in, because I feel like when I think about change, but unity is important, and having maybe the right leader as well. Well, definitely, the right leader can really do a lot. When you think about, look at Singapore, if we're talking about examples, we look at Singapore, for instance, right? How quickly they changed their nation, and Singapore is beautiful. If you've never been, you need to go. Like, I love Singapore, right? So Singapore, what's the you look at even Dubai, for instance, like that side over there, UAE, like they built that city from like what? That's from like nothing almost. And some of these things just came about within not pretty recently. There are things that we can see certain changes, certain groups of people who are advancing in certain areas because they made certain changes. So I'm like, why can't we change course? Like, why can't we change course? And focus on the things that would, like, I was talking to my younger brother. He's gonna be 18 this year, right? He's 17 right now, and he was asking me about, like, what he should do. And I know his skill set, right? I know what he's good at, and I'm like, you know what? For some reason, this thing came in my mind where I'm like, bro, you should definitely go and learn, like, a few programming languages. I think that's a good thing for you. And then, so I told him that, and I guess the idea stuck because he's really good with stuff like that already, right? So I'm like, bro, like, this, look, yeah, and just don't pay attention to anything else. This is where you gotta go. We're entering a period in this world where if you are not tech savvy, if you don't know these things, you're gonna be paralyzed or handicapped, because the world is ran by that, and everyone knows this. Everyone knows this, right? I have another brother that's in medical school, which is cool. So I'm like, okay, well, people always need doctors and stuff like that. So you're doing that. That's awesome. He's been there for a few years already. So my last brother now is entering the stage to enter university. What are we doing? Like, where are we going? Like, where? Like, as a community, man, we need to focus on these things. Honestly, man. Like, my daughter is 5. And yeah, she's 5. She has a long way to go, but I'm trying to make sure that, look, man, we have to do this, and it can't just be, as I said, it can't just be one black person, and that's what I'm saying. It's easy to do it as a one person, or just your family alone, but that's not enough. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not enough. You alone can make money. You can do your own thing, but I don't feel like that's going to affect the general perception of the community. But I understand that it's a responsibility and a burden that no one wants to bear, because it's something that it's a lot easier. Hey, what's up, Lisa? It's a lot easier to just do your own thing and don't care about anyone else, because you don't have to worry about people who are not united. You don't have to worry about that. You just do your own thing and you don't care. You're done. That's fine. You're good. But I'm just saying, man, third world countries, when I think about third world, I think about, like, Jamaica, some places in Africa, some places in South America, some places in the Caribbean. And I'm like, aren't these governments really thinking? I'm like, what are they doing though? Because it's not that hard. It's not that hard. People can learn right now. You can learn the program right now for free. If you got internet access, you can learn that. I shared a story yesterday about a Japanese lady. My wife brought it to my attention. She was interviewed on NHK in Japan. She's 80 something. Okay, she's been on this earth for almost 100 years. It took her 6 months to learn Python, which is fairly simple, right? It's like an entry level. They teach Python to kids. She learned that within 6 months, and she created an app. What was the app about? I can't remember what the function of the app was, but she did that. She's like 80 something. It took her 6 months. There are so many vacancies in these companies, and they're looking for all these people. Front-end developer, back-end developer, all these things, and all the vacancies, $70,000 a year, $75,000 a year, crazy money. Well, maybe not crazy, but decent money, good money. But we're still focusing on something else. We're still focusing on other industries where we have a lower probability or a chance of success. We're focusing on all these other things that aren't okay. Like, what are you gonna do? It's like when people talk about a liberal arts degree. You go to university and you get like a liberal my degree was law and society. Like, at one point I thought I would become a lawyer, right? Like, because I guess what I felt was, in my heart, I like speaking up for people, and I hate injustice. And I just felt like those were the recipe. And I like talking. Y'all know I talk a lot. I just felt like, okay, you know what, law is probably the way for me to go. But of course, I never went to law school, so I'm not saying I went to law school. But I felt like when I saw the behind the scenes in terms of like what lawyers actually do, I'm not sure if that's for me. Kind of, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork. When you watch TV shows like Suits, you're like, yes. you watch TV shows like Suits, you're like, oh man, that looks pretty lit. It's not the reality. Okay. Anyways, but people, you go and you study stuff that, like, get a liberal arts degree, and everyone talk about that, that you can't use that for anything. But now, unless you can find a way to utilize that, I don't know what you're gonna do. So it's like, if you're gonna do something that you can use, man. Like, please, like, and I think that's what we need to do in this community as Black people. We need to, really, really, I don't know, man. Yeah, we need to find those things. So third world countries. Then again, I don't have all the information, all the data, so I can't judge correctly. But I feel like if they focus all the resources, well, not all, but some of the resources on like educating their people in this particular industry, I don't know, bro. Maybe I need to. It doesn't matter. But I feel the same way about third world countries that I feel about Black people overall. Because if we're looking toward the future, it doesn't look that bright. But there are things that we can do that can change our position fast. Who was it that told me about? Someone told me about this as well, that another roadblock is rants on. Another roadblock is that when you go to a venture capitalist, right? They're used to seeing a certain type of person, right? So you're going for investment, you're going for funding, and there's usually a certain type of person that they look for. You don't see a lot of Black people, so apparently that's another thing that's an impediment to the progress. Like, you're going for funding as a Black person, and well, you're not the usual type that receives funding. So that's another thing as well. You go there, you have an idea, you got something, but you don't look like, the type of like the Mark Zuckerberg, or you don't look like who else? What's this guy's name? Jack. What's his last name? The dude from Twitter. And like, for instance, this guy that sold his app to Snapchat. What's this guy's name? Oh, I don't remember the dude's name. But dude, like, yeah, he sold this scan feature, that thing with Snapchat. He sold that for like how much? 100 something million, some crazy millions. And his life was changed forever, man. Dude created that app in university. Life changed. Imagine if you had an army of Black people doing that. Like, seriously, I'm not talking about just like a small group, like an army. What if this was a movement? Yes, not everyone would be interested in it, but you know what? Sometimes, in some of these households, people force their kids to do stuff. Right? They're like, listen, if you ain't being a doctor or be this or whatever, then it's over. What if we force ourselves, even for those of us who are not that savvy, even though I don't really ascribe to this, because you guys know I say pursue what you love, right? But man, I guess sometimes, look, you gotta do what you don't want to do sometimes, man, to get to where you need to go. So force yourself. Like, look, listen, I know you don't like math or science or whatever. Listen, man, you gotta go into the class, because this is the goal. This is where we're going. But anyways, I don't know. Well, yeah, that's that. I think I've ranted enough with that. But I don't know. As I said, with my limited understanding, with my limited understanding, I don't know if this is something that can be implemented. But I feel like if we want to accelerate our growth in certain countries, I feel like if we want to accelerate our growth, as Black people, we gotta like change, readjust our gaze, seriously, and enter these spaces, man. We have to enter these spaces, man. We have to, because if you create something that the world needs, you find a problem and you solve it. Look, people pay you for that. That's the essence of business. Problem solving. You solve a problem, you get compensated. People will willingly compensate you for solving a problem. So what are we doing though? And these are things that I feel like these are actionable. Sometimes we talk about, what the community is facing. For those of you guys who are just joining again, let me just say the title is about, remember to subscribe as well. We come on every day at 10 a.m. JST, and the title, Bobi Wine and Nelson from Atlanta Black Star, they are airlifting affected black people from China to any country within Africa that will accept them, or if they're US citizens or Americans, they will airlift them to America as well. And the hashtag is saving our own souls, hashtag SOOS, for more details. We're going to look deeper into it and see if there's something, if we can contribute. So by tomorrow, I should be coming on with a link or something if we're going to do something to try to get them some funds. So we'll do that tomorrow. And what I was saying just now again was that, sometimes when we think about the black community, even myself, and I'm like, what can we do? What's the solution? Because I'm always thinking of a solution. That's just the way my mind works. And I'm like, okay, we know the problems, and sometimes you feel like there's nothing that you can do. But this, when I'm talking about this, I'm like, I can see it happening. And at least I know at least one place, but it's a private company that they're doing something like this, and that was a company I worked for, where they just they had this team of like programmers and marketers and writers and all these people, and that's how I learned about all just the online industry overall. Like there was so much I learned there, and like snap, like I never knew these things existed. And then they had this thing as well where they trained people, but it wasn't as deep. It wasn't like they never trained them in terms of like teaching them how to code, teaching them different programming languages. That wasn't what they taught. So that to me, that represents an example. Yes, it's a private company, right? They had clients and people had to pay, to go to their boot camps and stuff like that. But it doesn't even take that much money. So I don't know. It sounds like something that could be done for third world countries. It sounds like something that could be done, especially for people in certain countries that can't find employment. So if you can't find employment, that's one way. Get those skills going. And then for even black people, the community, if more of us, man, we have internet, man. More of us just bite the bullet. I guess if you don't like it, it's hard work. It's kind of crazy. But I guess if you spent the time on doing it, I'm pretty sure we could do it. Look at the end goal and move, and just let's start an army, man, of like black programmers all over, man. That'd be good. We could probably change our destiny within 10 years. That sounds actionable to me. I don't know. But what do I know, right? Wait, Baggy, are you talking to me or are you talking to someone else in the chat? Earl, the resources that Africa needs right now is mainly skills and technical know-how. Yeah. But as I said, if you don't have someone who is versed in some of these things, there are countless online subscriptions that someone can buy, and then you can have a facilitator in these rooms to walk people through, just what's going on. It has to be one of those things. It has to be like it might have to start as a grassroots movement in certain places, and then you work your way up. And that's what we're gonna have to do. And I like this thing that these people have, the hashtag, saving our own souls. And I think that's an hashtag that could be adopted for so many other things, like saving our own souls. And that's what we're gonna have to do. We're always looking up, we're looking around, and there's no progress, there's nothing. We're just gonna have to see it. And if there's something that you see and you can do something about it, do it. right? So so that's what I'm thinking, man, because and that will help. That will help. So when they see one black person doing something, they're not amazed, like, oh my God, this one black person escaped. It will be the norm, just like how when we perceive other people, it's a norm to see other people occupying a certain position. We don't question, right, whether they're qualified, right? We don't question any of these things. Honesty rants. I agree, Rants. Ideally, things could change in the span of 10 years. It is possible. And that's all I need to know. It is possible. That's all I need to know. Is it possible? Right? But we're humans, which means we're emotional and irrational and subject to environment, too many factors. Understood. I get what you're saying. I get it. I get it, man. I get it. But innovation overall. And this is the thing. Even though I don't need history, the way I think is I don't need to see a president to say, okay, you know what? Yes, this happened before. This is an example, so it can be done. I don't need to see that, but I know that history has taught us a lot, and we can use history as our teacher, right? And learn from history, right? Something not because it's challenging means it's impossible, right? Even if it has never been done before, it can be done, right? So I usually I don't need history to say, okay, well, I can do this or not do that. Because when I look to the future, I use vision, I use faith, right? Which is just like the unseen. I don't have to see it, but I believe that it will be made manifest. So it might seem challenging, but all I need to know is it possible? So if it's possible, then there's hope then. And it doesn't have to be on a large scale. We don't have to do it like the whole nation is just like doing it. We find those people. Maybe we can start with people who have the interest, right? People who have a knack for, not even the knack, but people who are excited about that, and then give them the tools that they need and the environment to cultivate that skill and that love, and have a person there to guide them, and then we can extend all for free, no charge at all, free. Y'all don't pay $1, free. It's not even that hard. I'm actually falling in love with this idea. I don't know. I'm gonna think about it somewhere. I don't know. Maybe we could do a pilot or something, like a really small group, and see a proof of concept or something. I don't know. Let's see. I don't care if someone that's listening want to do it themselves too. That's good, because this is something that is needed. So if you do it or I do it or they do it, I don't care. I just want it to be done. So if you do it, send me a link. So send me a video or something about it, showing me that you're doing it. Because these are the things that we need. For like, imagine, man. I know they have like stuff like this. They probably have things like this going on. I know they do. But just to have, like, this is the goal for someone to say, okay, Vision 20, they have this Vision 2020, 2030 that everyone is scared of, saying that yes, I said free. Okay, y'all know I believe in free. Well, then again, yeah, that's just me though. You guys know the way I do things. Usually, like, almost everything we do is free. I don't know. Anyways, that's maybe not everything will always be free, but that's where my mind is. My mind is, if we're talking about people who can't afford things, we don't want to put something there. I'm saying if they can't. We can't create a barrier for the person who's coming in. That's just what I'm thinking. I don't know, like, if someone has the potential and they don't have the money, I don't think we should stop them from doing that. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm like, so if a guy comes and he's like, man, because some people don't even have a laptop. But so maybe I'm not even sure how the money part is not important. But definitely, yeah, I don't want, if that happens, I think the people shouldn't pay, because the goal is you're trying to get people out of a state of poverty. All right, you're getting them to a place where they can afford things or do more. And so you have a small group of people, you teach them, and then you teach them also how to find the jobs in those industries if they want to work for a company and get some experience. or you can teach them how to like do their own thing and try to find a way to sell it. All these things. Get funded, how to exit, whatever. I don't know. Someone said going to crypto. Man, crypto. Oh, wait, let's see what Earl said. In addition to what I mentioned before, the entire Caribbean region can produce, what's this? Effort food? Wait, you mean, he said effort food? Is that like a term? Produce food to feed the entire diaspora and the world at large. Think about it. Public library exists. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. You got, oh, that's why this thing is so close. I know public libraries, but still, like, that's the thing. It has to be an initiative, though, because sometimes people need you to push them in a certain direction. Sometimes people need. I remember when I was in Canada, I had this personal trainer, and I think that was like maybe the best shape of my life, because it was like you had someone there every time, and the way this place, they actually had the trainer there, and like, you know, they had this book or whatever, and every time I went to work out, you know, they would tell me what to do, and like I think I was maybe in the best shape of my life because I had guidance. There was a system in place that was a lot easier for me. There was no fumbling or stumbling in the dark for me. I had guidance that really helped. So yeah, someone who, you have people like that will go to the library. You have people that will take the initiative to go online and learn something. You have people with foresight, you know, that will say, you know what, this might be what's coming, let me try to do this now. But not everyone is like that. And if we're talking about moving a people or a country forward, then it can't just be an individual. We need to help those, and the people that we're most concerned about are the people who are weaker, right? So those people, they need a system and a structure that they can easily fall into, and they can be led along the way. So that's where, yes, libraries are cool, but that's more so. And well, then again, you have some libraries who have that have programs, but this would have to be like a national initiative, like, I don't know, like whatever country, 2030. It's a decade thing, right? Or if it's a black community thing, different cities or different groups. And this is what we're doing. We're producing. The goal of this thing is every year we produce, I don't know, 24, 50 black engineers, or even more. I'm being conservative. A certain amount every year, and that's the goal. Giving them the hard skills. You get it, everything you need, and then they can utilize that. I don't know. As I keep saying, what do I know? What do I know? But I think it's something that I'm interested in. I might look into it. I like the feel of this idea. I think it will actually do something, because I know once you get those skills, you won't be hungry for long, man. You might be hungry a little bit, but you won't be hungry for long, right? So, and then collectively, we'll rise. Okay, so with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, for those of you guys who don't know what that is, do the research. I'm not encouraging anyone to get into it or not. I discovered Bitcoin independently in 2013, and I believed in it from my side in 2013, right? But of course, I was unable to invest in it the way that, you know, like some of these other people did. I guess I learned about it too late. But at the time, Bitcoin was what, maybe it was definitely $500 and something when I discovered Bitcoin at that time. I'm like, oh, I like this thing. So I was trying to mine. I was actually mining Bitcoin then. So I think it would have been better if I actually bought Bitcoin when I was trying to mine it in 2013. And of course, lo and behold, you guys know Bitcoin now. It blew up. I was telling people about it. People never even knew what the hell it was. They're like, what in the world is Bitcoin? But the thing with Bitcoin right now, though, like, even though like I'm invested in crypto, but when Bitcoin came about, like, for instance, people are saying, look, when there's a disaster in the world, right? If the world's economy crashes or whatever, Bitcoin will be the place to go, the place to have these things, like have your coins or whatever, you'll be safe. But the moment this COVID-19 thing started, right, the Bitcoin lost 50% of its value. 50%, okay? So can you imagine when you looked, at your whatever your Bitcoin, and you saw that 50% of the value is gone? It responded the reverse of what people expected. So of course it's very volatile, and it's something that honestly, like, it might be. I think it's going to be the future. I think cryptocurrencies will be the future. Um, yeah, but yeah, it will be the future. But people need to do more research in it, and you got to be strong. If you're gonna do it, it has to be for the long term. I'm not giving any investment advice, but yeah, that's something that I don't think I would. Yeah, I think I can take my own risks, but I don't think I'd. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell people to buy crypto or whatever, because you could lose your money. It's very possible. Yeah, even though I do believe in it, but I'm not gonna tell people to do it because I understand that it's risky. And just like what happened with COVID-19, 50% of the value is gone. That's not a nice feeling. People were like sweating like crazy. People were just going crazy. Today it was announced in Toronto that the cost of bananas will be going through the roof. We in the Caribbean have tons of bananas, so why aren't we given the contract to import this product? No idea. Put some money away on practice for a good minute. I say 6 to 12 months, then trade with real money. Not right back. What was this? Not right off back. You will just lose your hard-earned money. It's not a game, but it is so beneficial. Maybe I'm reading that part wrong. Bag money. Again, guys, look. Someone call. Like, one caller. What time is it? I've been talking for almost 2 hours. If you guys wanna someone, just one caller. If someone wanna call, drop me a message. Oh, someone did, right? Sir, okay. Oh man, like, okay, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I see a message and I'm just like, I don't think I'm for it today. I'm not for it today. I'm not for it today. Um, let's see. Let's see. That's another thing as well. The society was not set up. Another thing as well. I remember I've done a lot of stuff. Like sometimes when I tell people what I've done, they're like, "Oh, what? How old are you?" I worked at this university as well at one point, in recruitment, and what happened was there was a guy, and I worked at a business college, right? And this guy was really smart dude, Indian guy, super smart. And this guy was maybe 19, and this guy was already investing. So like he gave me the 411, and this man was making crazy money, like young dude, or 19, young dude, or whatever, deep in investing. Right, the man was extremely, the man was extremely passionate about what he was doing, and I like talking to him. And sometimes we would get in some really complex things, and I'm like, okay, like you can break that down for me for a second. And he was young, but the difference is, of course I've met some really great black people, but not a lot of black people are invested, like invest their money. Not a lot of black people invest their money. That's another thing as well. We're talking about tech. We're talking about investments. Not a lot of black people. And of course, historically, there's a reason for that, and I'm pretty sure we can explain that, why this is the case or why that's not the case. But I know for a fact, some of the things that we don't know about, the reason why most of us are, I'm just saying, generally speaking, don't have maybe financial freedom or enough money to do what we need to do, is because we just don't know things. And I remembered like this simple example when I discovered, when I worked for this company, and I learned so much about like how to make money online, so many things, and I did start utilizing that for myself as well. And I'm like, man, there are so many things that we just don't know about. I never knew, and I'm like, oh, I knew about like tech and stuff. I'm like, I thought I knew some stuff, but clearly like there was a lot that I never knew. And so like if right now you ain't got no money, There's something you can do right now. Maybe now it might be even harder now too, because like there's a lot of like markets that are saturated, so it might be harder. But if you're creative enough, you can find a way to do things. So there's just so many things, man. So many things that look. Information, man. Information is truly power, man. Knowledge is truly power, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. This one guy said this. And maybe this is a bad example because I don't want to give you guys any ideas, so you guys think anything. This is just something I've heard, and I believe it to be true. This guy said, it is. I don't like talking about these things, but anyways, he said, when you make, he said, make $1 million, right? Why am I even talking about? I shouldn't be talking about this. You make $1 million, for instance, right? And then you can lose it. You can lose it. And it sounds kind of crazy. He's like, you make $1 million. So the guy that said this, he became a millionaire at 31, and he said he can make $1 million, and he can lose it. The $1 million is not the important thing. It's what you learned. It's what you learned when you made the $1 million, right? It's who you become. And it's like it's a different thing. It's funny because when we're on one side of the divide, you don't see certain things. But when you're on the other side, you see things differently. The experience that you garnered to cross over the bridge is invaluable. And even if what you have possessed or acquired in that transition, if you lose it, you still have the experience. You still have the mindset, the things that you learned, and you can use those same principles and then get back to where you were. And I know it to be true. I don't have $1 million, so don't get any ideas, but I know it to be true. And it makes sense. And that just shows you it's the information that you have. It's the information. It's the experience. Your husband lost 50 grand in what? Bitcoins? 50 grand. Yeah. Oh, in stocks, right? In stocks. Yeah. I remember when Bitcoin went in half. I was like, oh my god. When I checked it for a second, and I'm like, damn. And people panicked, like the people were selling like crazy, and I was like, but my mind went into, first of all, I thought what I was seeing was false. I'm like, oh, this can't be real. And then I'm like, okay, so the response now is like, okay, it's lower than it was before. Do you buy or do you sell? If you sell, maybe you would lose some money or a lot of money. And if you buy, then you would be in a better position because it will go up. It will go up if, in my mind, like right now, the time we're living in right now is kind of crazy, because my mindset is, I'm like, okay, if the world returns to normal, which it probably will, let me stop. I'm not giving investment advice, guys. Let me stop, because it's very dangerous. Let me just stop there. Usually people put a disclaimer. As I said, I'm a risk taker. I'm a crazy person with taking risks. I see with faith. I don't see with my eyeballs. So like I do things that other people might think is crazy and nuts. So not everyone can live the way I live. So let me not go into that, because I don't want people to spend money and do stuff and then they blame me if they lose money or something. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if the world, usually I'm just saying, I guess if the world goes back to normal, which it might happen, the value is going to go back up. So if you buy something, these times are usually the best time to buy stuff, like in principle. And if the value, if the world returns to normal, then you'll make back your money, right? But it depends how long it will take, so you don't know, right? So now, like, Bitcoin it's like bouncing right now. But when it lost 50% of the value, then if someone had bought more satoshis at that point, maybe a year from now, if things normalize and go back to normal, then you might be able to make a good profit on that. But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know, because the uncertainty right now, and that's the thing, that's why it might be the opportunity. That's the opportunity, because so many people are uncertain that if someone take the risk, they could make some money. But then again, you don't know, man. And I don't know either, man. It's not cool when you invest your money and you see and then you lose a lot of money. or even some money. It's not, y'all know, you guys are adults, you know what it's like. So it's one of those things where you got to know what you're doing. So definitely. But if it bounces back, if the world returns to normal, which it might, then whoever takes this opportunity right now, you will be bathing in maybe 18 months. I don't know, 12 to 18 months from now. But hey, what do I know? I don't know anything. We lack the generational wealth, not so much the money aspect of it, but the knowledge that come with creating and managing money. Punta, that is very true as well. That is very true as well, man. Man, I'm just like, you know what? When he bought 10, wait, so, oh, Bitcoin, right? Well, if he bought 10 Bitcoins, I hope he hasn't sold it. Okay, you can lose $50,000 from whatever the value is. That's horrible, but he will only lose that if he sells. So I don't know. It's up to you guys. You guys got to decide if he's gonna sell or not. Because when you see that loss, you want to sell immediately. But then again, it might not be the right way. Unless if he lost, it depends. Like if he had maybe if he had doubled his money, maybe quadruple his money or whatever. Then if he lost 50,000, he could still be in the black. He could still be at a profit maybe. So maybe he could still. I don't know. It's up to you guys. But yeah, my advice would be, you know what? Let me not give any advice. What do I know? I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Okay, don't listen to me. Do not listen to Ranzo. Okay. Anyways. Yeah. Where was I? What is life without the risk? Yeah, someone was talking about generational wealth. When we think about the black community, man, there's just so many things. So many things. We tend to, sometimes, I don't like generalizing, but it seems like we value the wrong things, man. Sometimes it seems like we value the wrong things. We spend money, we do make some money when we work because we work hard, and then we spend it on the wrong things. Or we spend the money on the wrong things. We're not buying the things that will add value to us. We're not simply, it's funny, like a simple example is a book, for instance, right? Like it's funny when you think about it, that someone, I guess I'm going to criticize those people who like buying these expensive shoes and stuff, because that's not me. I don't care about name brand. I'll buy a no-name shoes. I don't care. People that buy shoes for $250, just because it's a name brand and they just want to have a shoes for that price. So you buy that shoes for $250, right? Cool, that's your decision. But at the same time, you can buy a book, right, that teaches you something. If you get an Audible subscription, $14.95 per month, you get a new credit, and you can buy additional credits for like $30-something, I think, like 3 additional credits. A credit, you can use a credit to redeem. You redeem a credit for a book. You can listen to it. Like I usually listen to books when I'm running. Or you can buy a book for, I don't know, $25 for a book, and that book, you can learn something in that book that can make you, I don't know, like $10,000, for instance, $5,000, $1,000. So already you're making a return on your investment. You're buying a book, $25. But most of us, not most of us, let me not say that, but some people would buy a shoes for $250 and wouldn't buy a book for $25. When the book for $25 can give you more. I don't know, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, man. There's a lot of problems, and sometimes you can't teach something that you don't know. You can't teach something that you don't know, man. If you don't know it, you gotta find someone who knows it, and then you gotta go and get it. And that's what I talk about. There's so many things. There are so many layers, because, as I said too, the appetite. Someone has to have the appetite for something, right? And that's where, I guess, habit comes in, and the formation of routines. Because if you don't have the appetite for something, you don't want it. Sometimes you're trying to tell someone something or show someone something, and they have no interest in it because they don't have the appetite for it, and you're wasting your time. So you have to first create the appetite for that, and then you move on from there. Then you create the habits. You create the habits, the good habits, by having a routine. And all these things can become habits. All these things can become habits, man. And we're living, and that's why, I love the internet, man. I love the internet, man, because I don't know how long we're gonna have all this free information. But right now, anyone can learn anything. Anything. But the problem is that the distraction is strong. The distraction is strong, man. Entertainment is strong, y'all. Sometimes I do fall down the rabbit hole. I gotta catch myself. If you go on Facebook or you go on YouTube, you guys are on YouTube right now. You guys are probably on Facebook right now as well. And you find yourself binge watching videos. I don't even have Netflix anymore. I canceled that a long time ago. So I don't even know what's on Netflix. Because the moment you have Netflix, you want to watch something. You just want to watch it. So I canceled that like ages ago. So while you can learn, you can invest the same amount of time and learn something, or you can invest the same amount of time when you start binge watching, because it's easier to consume. You just lean back and you just consume stuff. But you know what? I think the next generation. So some people don't have any faith in the incoming generation, but I feel like they might be the smartest generation. Why? Because I could be wrong, because it depends how people use the technology. But like my daughter already, she knows how to use iPad, cell phone. You guys know you have maybe kids as well, or siblings who can do the same thing, and they're really good at it. So they have information at their fingertips from their 9 months old, right? So if they can consume all that information and use that time for learning and not just entertainment, I think the next generation might be smarter and better. So we as parents, or the older folks, should definitely do something to try to aid them. Indeed. So what did Earl say? Yeah. I had something similar like that, Earl, that came to my mind, but it's not exactly a study group. But there's something as well that I'm thinking about, and I think I told you guys in a live stream that I want to implement it. I'm gonna do it, anyways. And let's see how that goes. If you find the right people, it can be done. But definitely stuff like that, man. It's doable, and as Honesty Rand said, it's true. We're emotional. We're humans. We're emotional, irrational. There are many factors that affect us, right? So certain things won't go as smoothly. You may think, oh, this thing might be easy to implement, but the general roadmap is there. Forex. Oh, you can provide a book list. Cool. Email me that book list. I might read it myself. I might go through it myself. I try to do a book a week. And there are different ways to consume it. They have this thing they call Blinkist, which, so Blinkist is like a summarization of, I guess I give you like a synopsis of the major ideas in certain books, right? I tried it once, but I couldn't. I don't know. I can't. But for those people who don't like reading, get Audible. And I'm not promoting it, but you can find a lot of audiobooks on YouTube for free. I'm not sure how these books are still on YouTube, because I think that's like copyright infringement. But you can find all these books online, on YouTube, that you can play and listen to the audio. And if you like reading, you can have the books. You can read it as well, which sometimes help to have the physical copy in your hand. So those are different ways that we can just consume some stuff. Someone said being a single parent is difficult. I can imagine. But you know what? Some single moms, look, hey, they look, they do some, yeah, look, they do some stuff, man. They can get it done, right? So, like, for instance, my mom was a single mom for a little period of time. It's kind of, the story's kind of funny. It's not really funny, but it's a, I guess, a story of triumph, maybe, because um, my dad left when I was really, really young. Um, and my mom, they were married, right? And my mom, she stuck it out. She was a champion warrior, and definitely a super hardworking woman. Trust me, intense, fierce, does not play. And eventually, she got back with my father. Believe it or not, like definitely, that's probably like that's a book right there. That is a book. She should definitely write a book. About that whole journey. But yeah, so I understand. I understand how hard it is, right? Because I remember when she did, she worked two jobs. Even when we needed books for schools and stuff like that, she had to like work extra so she could buy the book. Y'all know, maybe you guys, I'm not sure. It depends where you're from. If you guys actually buy books, but she had to like buy the books and work and stuff like that. Um, so I do understand that it's challenging, and sometimes you're so exhausted that you probably don't have enough energy to do other things. Um, but there's a way, and there are a lot of people who are able to make it, or who made it. Parents who paved the way, single parent, who did the work. So I know that there are blueprints out there, and people can do things. It can be done, right? Sometimes it just takes you need to take some time to just sit down and just sort of like plot things out, plan things out, and just try to figure out how you're gonna move forward. But yeah, I think it's doable because it has been done before. There's a bookstore in Toronto called A Different Book List. Has the very thing that you require. Oh, you mean have everything you require? You mean the owner of the business, Aita Sadu, is also an award-winning author here in Canada. I saw this. There's a library in Toronto, Earl, that I saw a video of. I think it's in downtown Toronto, but I haven't been there before. But it seems to be like a really high-tech library. Was I there? I think I went. I think I went there for a video at one point. I think I did. It might have been that library. But Toronto has some pretty cool libraries as well. But some of these things can be done, and you know what? I think there is no end of good ideas. There are no end. There is no end, I should say, of good ideas, and that's me. So I'm gonna end this just now. People. Black people. You have really smart black people, brilliant black people, who have so many good ideas, and they have engaged in discussions for a very, very long time. We just talk and we talk and we talk and we talk, and we sound eloquent and we sound smart, and it's beautiful words, and we're like mesmerized, but we fail to execute. And that, at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. The only thing that matters is execution. Nothing else matters. And I keep telling myself and remind. That's why I work out and run and do all these things, which is beautiful because it's hard. It's hard. So it's not easy to do, especially when I have my burpees workout and stuff. Like right now after this, and I have this burpee session, I got to do like over 100 burpees. And if you all know burpees, I don't know if you guys know how hard burpees are. Almost every time I have my session of burpees, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm about to die. Right? But the thing is, we understand the benefit of working out. We understand the benefits of healthy food. Look, I'm proud of myself. I haven't had fast food in a long time. Like I've forged that habit. No pizza. Can you believe that? No pizza. No soda, no pop, no dessert. And especially when you can get it if you want, and you have the discipline not to get it, right? And so, but like working out, like you look at it and you know that it will get you the results, but it's hard. And it's not just hard to do it once, it's hard to be consistent, especially when you have other obligations and things that you need. And as you know, if you're a person that you compromise a lot, it's going to be a problem, because momentum is important. So knowing that it's hard, you know the benefits. You know, you go out there and you're like, I'm not going to do it. It doesn't matter how much you know about the theory of the way the body works. It doesn't matter. You know about nutrition. It doesn't matter. Are you doing what you ought to be doing? Are you applying the information? Are you executing? That's the only way you're going to get the results. And it's not a one-time thing. And consistency is hard, but you can make it happen. You go out there. I'm psyching myself up right now, guys, because I know I'm going to, after this, have a workout. So then I have a run. And I'm like, okay, I got to psych myself up. You know, you go out there and you do the work, and that's the only time. And, you know, I have this thing on my wall, you know, that says, one of many, that says, it hurts, but it works. Be strong. It hurts like hell, but it works. And that's the part to keep in your mind. It works. Let that drive you. The same thing as well as it's possible. It's hard as hell. You don't know how you're going to do it. But the question is it possible? And if the answer is yes, then that's all you need to hold on to that. And you keep moving. You know, you try to change. You know, you adjust where you need to. You know, you assess, you adjust, you implement. Keep going, man. So yeah, anyway, so guys, that's it. I don't know, like, I never intended to come on and just talk all this time by myself. Right, but hey, whatever. I hope I made some sense. Did I make any sense, guys? Did I make any sense? I don't know, hopefully, whatever. Maybe I just like hearing myself talk. I don't know. Who doesn't? I don't know. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you guys got something from this. This wasn't the goal. And again, just to recap, Bobi Wine and Neil Nelson from AtlantaBlackStar.com, they have teamed up, and they will be, if they want to leave, they're offering the black people in China the opportunity to be airlifted to a country in Africa that will accept them, or to America if they're Americans. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to investigate it some more, look at the links, and see if they have some link or something where people can contribute to their efforts. And I'm going to, when I come back on tomorrow at 10 a.m. JST, I'll let you guys know the update on that, and maybe we as a collective can contribute. I'll do it for sure. But if there's a link, I'll at least pass on the information to you guys so that we can do something to help the people who need it in China. So that's what we're going to be doing. So tomorrow, I look into that today, and then tomorrow I can bring you guys the information, because the news was sent to me by someone today. So I never had time to really, go deep to see if we could do something today for them. Okay, let's see. I put like 50 pounds on in the quarantine being lazy. And now, man, like, I understand. I think that's possible, but you gotta, like, I don't know if you guys can run, but we can still run here, but they just ask us to just, like, stay away from people. But I do see a lot more people running, though. But yeah, you can work out inside one. Burpees is something that I always tell people that burpees are the go-to exercise. It's like, you have a push-up, you got a plank in it, you got a vertical leap in it, you got a squat in it. So it's like a full body workout that is, it really gets your heart rate going. It incinerates fat, and I use that word strategically. Burpees incinerate fat. So if you want to lose fat, burpee is the way to go. Because I remember when I did, I got my finishers medal and stuff from Spartan race there. When I was training for the Spartan race, and I did, I lost, like I told you guys, that year 2017, I lost like about 70 pounds, right? And this is the last time before I leave. I was running a lot, and that's how I started. So daily running, I was running every single day, and I was losing, like, I was discouraged after maybe like 2 weeks, because I was looking in the mirror, and I was like, snap, I'm not really losing any weight. Like I'm looking at myself, I don't see anything. and I felt the desire to give up, but knowing me, I don't give up. So anyways, right, so like it's very, very hard for me to do that. And if I have a goal, I won't give up on the goal. Anyways, even if I stop, I gotta like start again. So I was thinking, I was looking, I'm like, man, I don't know, is this thing working? And I'm like, I'm not gonna give up. So I started, running, and then I started to see the results of losing the weight. Hey, what's up, Enola? And but when I introduced burpees to my workout, so I had this crazy workout thing where I did burpees and stairs, which is crazy. If you guys don't understand what a burpee is, you probably won't understand how crazy this workout was. So I introduced burpees and stairs. So burpees was, I would be at the base of the staircase, I would do about maybe like 30 burpees, right? And then I would just sprint. I'll attempt to sprint up the stairs. um, so I tried to sprint up the stairs, but I couldn't really sprint. But I did run up the stairs as fast as I could. But trust me, after those burpees, you're just like, and I'm doing like a number of sets, yeah, or rep or whatever. Like you just yeah, I think it's sets actually. Yeah, you're done for. So I did that, but like the fat just started just drop off me like crazy. So when I married or coupled running, which is cardio, you guys know, burpees, which is also cardio as well, but still strength and cardio, and then the staircase, I lost so much weight. So if you guys want to really do that, it's crazy. It's like a crazy type of workout. But if you want to lose weight and you find that you got stubborn fat that won't leave, trust me, burpees and stairs and running, and it's over. So you can do burpees in your house. It depends where you live. I don't know where you live, but if you live in a place where you can jump, then you can do burpees inside your house. You could do it on the stairs in your house, Bagmani, but you don't want to do. I don't think you want to. The burpees and stairs, yeah, you could do it. I don't think it's necessary to do it. We should do a live workout. Maybe we should. We probably should do a live workout. But I feel like you don't have to do. I have to do the burpees and stairs in your house. You could do the burpees. It depends where you live. If you can jump in your house. But I don't know. I did a live workout before actually. I did that like back in the day. I was trying to motivate people to work out. And yeah, even me watching the replay of that video, I was tired. I keep boasting that my burpee record, my 5-minute burpee record was like 80 something. I was trying to get to 100, but I got like 80 or 87, 82 or 87. Yeah, I know, like burpees is like, you gotta look it up, right? So it's like it's a full body workout. It's one of the ultimate exercise in the world, which means it's really hard, especially when you do a lot. When you do a lot, it's like you're dying. You will feel like you're about to die, right? So you will feel like you're gonna die. So the first part is you do okay, so burpees, up. So you do a squat, you do a push-up, right? You do a squat again, there's a vertical leap, right? Well, you know what? Actually, a squat, plank, push-up, squat, vertical leap, and you just do that. Trust me, it will work. Oh, Punta, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. So, guys, thank you guys for coming on. That's it. If you haven't been if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. This is the official live channel, and I know it's not the main channel. There will be a lot more people on the main channel, but I'm trying to separate the content. But I'll do live sometimes on the main channel, just to get people. To alert people to the existence of this channel here, and then as this one grows, we'll stop doing live on the main channel. Right, this channel is pretty new as well, so we're trying to get to 1,000, just so that when we're able to go outside and film or stream or whatever, we can do mobile live streams and I can take you guys along. It is painful, yeah, it is hella painful. But it works, man. It works. That's what I'm saying. It hurts, but it works. Don't concern yourself with if something is hard or if something is painful. Will it get you the results? That's all that matters. Is that the way to get it? Okay. Is it the most effective way? Maybe, maybe not. Find a better way then. But if it works, you found something. Keep doing it until you find something better. Anyways, guys, keep Kiyoskete. Bye for now. See you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. JST on this channel. And I don't even eat KFC anymore, bro. Trust me, like, I'm so disciplined. I'm proud of myself, bro. Baggy, Manny, sorry, yeah, let me know tomorrow how that goes. And the thing with food is you gotta replace it. You gotta replace it. Anything that you stop eating, replace it with something else. The void will kill you. The void will make, trust me, you'll relapse. Replace it with something. At least this is just my experience. Like, no one told me this. This is just from my personal experience. It might be different for you, but if you stop eating a certain food item, make sure you replace it with a healthier option. Do that. It will help a lot. Like, for instance, pop for me, I make my own juice at my house. Sometimes you guys see me on the live drinking my my protein shake, and I'll put all sort of stuff in it, fruits. It's good. Okay, guys, bye for now. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. JST. Remember to subscribe, and I guess like this video if you liked it. I hope this was a decent live stream. I don't know if it was or not, but today was a chill day, and that was pretty good. All right, bye for now, guys. Kiyoskete.